By June 2026, the way we use AI has shifted. We've moved past simple writing copilots and started using autonomous agents that actually do the work, but this transition has hit a massive, expensive wall. The problem is the bill. Companies are seeing their token costs explode because these agents loop and think constantly, which means the monthly invoices are becoming completely unsustainable for most businesses. It's a weird spot to be in because the tech works, but it's too expensive to run at scale. Now, the real battle isn't about who has the smartest model, but who can make it affordable. To survive, companies are hunting for ways to cut costs without losing intelligence. They're looking at things like semantic caching and smart routing to keep the lights on without going broke. To understand the cost, you have to look at how agents work. Unlike a chatbot, an agent might call 5 different tools and reflect on its own mistakes before giving you an answer. Every one of those internal thoughts costs tokens. If an agent loops 10 times to solve a coding bug, you're paying for 10 times the data, which adds up fast across a whole team. Then there's the context window. Agents need to remember what they did 3 steps ago, so they keep sending the entire history back to the model, making every new request more expensive than the last. When one person uses an agent, it's fine. But when 1,000 employees use them for 8 hours a day, the cost curve goes vertical, and that's where the financial panic starts. Most companies just started by plugging into the biggest, most expensive models. It's like using a semi-truck to deliver a single envelope, which is a huge waste of resources and money. The goal now is to find a balance. They want the power of a giant model for the hard parts, but they need something leaner for the repetitive, boring tasks. This is where semantic caching comes in. Instead of asking the AI the same question 1,000 times, the system saves the answer and recognizes when a new question means the same thing. It doesn't just look for exact words, but for the meaning. If 2 users ask for a summary of the same report in different ways, the cache serves the first answer, which costs almost nothing. But caching isn't a magic fix because the world changes. If the data updates, the cache becomes wrong, so companies have to build complex ways to clear out old info. Another big move is smart routing. This is basically a traffic cop that looks at a request and decides which model is the cheapest one capable of handling the job. If you're just asking for a date, it goes to a tiny local model. If you're asking for a complex legal analysis, it routes to the expensive powerhouse, saving a fortune on simple tasks. We're seeing a huge surge in local models. Running a small model on your own hardware means no per token fee, which is a dream for any CFO trying to manage a budget. Fine-tuning is also becoming a priority. By training a small model on specific company data, it can often outperform a giant general model while being a fraction of the cost. It's all about moving from one giant brain to a team of specialists. You have small, fast models for specific tasks, and they only wake up the big brain when they're stuck. Of course, moving things local creates new problems. Now, companies are fighting over GPUs and server space, which just trades one kind of expense for another. And we can't forget the power bill. Running these models at scale uses a lot of electricity, which is starting to hit the bottom line of the data centers. Many firms feel trapped by their current providers. They've built everything on one API, but the prices are too high, making the migration to open source models a risky, necessary move. The companies that win won't be the ones with the most AI, but the ones who can run it the cheapest. Efficiency is becoming the only real competitive advantage in the market. We're seeing a shift in hiring too. Companies aren't just hiring AI researchers anymore, they're hiring optimization engineers who know how to shave off a few cents per 1,000 tokens. Looking ahead, the goal is a seamless layer where the user doesn't know which model is talking. The system just optimizes for cost and speed automatically. So, the battle for AI isn't about intelligence anymore, it's about economics. From caching to routing, the industry is just trying to make these agents actually make financial sense. It's a messy process, but it's the only way AI becomes a permanent part of how we work. Once the costs drop, the real potential of autonomous agents can finally be unlocked. It'll be interesting to see who manages to crack the code on cost first. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and leave a like. See you next time.